Okay, now I am starting with controllability again. So here are a couple of elementary examples from vibrations, 3 examples. Think of this system here, x1 and x2 are 2 degrees of freedom. These springs are the same and these masses are the same for helping your intuition. Okay, now you may have taken a vibration course, then you will know that for vibrations only in this direction, this system has 2 modes. The first mode is where this mass and this mass are both moving in phase, both to the right and then both to the left. In that case, actually this spring is not active for these special parameter values, and the square root of k over m is the natural frequency. If m1 was not equal to m2, then it would still have this shape, but the 2 magnitudes would be different and the frequency would be harder to calculate, but the principle is the same. Now over here, the other mode is where this mass moves in one direction and this mass moves in the opposite direction. They are out of phase, and this frequency will be higher. For these special parameter values, you can calculate effectively what will happen is the midpoint of this spring will be stationary, so 2k on this side, k on this side, 3k will be there, and so the natural frequency will be square root of 3 times bigger than for the first mode. My point is that in this system, if the control force F acts equally on the 2 masses, in that case you will not be able to influence the second mode, and you will see that this is not controllable. For your homework, write the equations and see this. Here's another example. So these 2 springs are capital K, these 2 springs, I have written M here, this should be small k, sorry. So now small k here, capital K, small m and small m, this one capital M. This one has 3 modes, but one of those modes is symmetric. So the center one does not move. One of these moves to the right, the other one moves to the left. Then this one reverses and that one reverses, this one still doesn't move. Now if your control input acts over here, then you will not influence this mode. And so if you write equations for this, you will see that this system is not controllable. Here is a cantilever beam. You may be familiar with the idea of modes of continuous systems also. There is some location where some force acts. Now you may know that the first mode looks roughly like this and the second mode looks roughly like this. There is a nodal point for mode 2. If this force acts exactly at the nodal point, then within linear theory what happens is it does not influence mode 2. You write equations, you will see it is not controllable. Okay, now how do I go to the next slide? So here I am. Our general formulation is x dot is equal to ax plus bu. I am taking an example now. So this is A, some matrix I have taken, it's arbitrary, B is like this, 1 0 0. The controllability matrix works out to be like this. I did it in MATLAB. You can do it by hand for these small things in an exam. The rank works out to be 3. To see that the rank is 3, you can actually calculate the determinant if you like, and that determinant you can calculate by expanding about this point, in which case you just have to see this 3 times 3 is 9. It's easy to see. If you like to think about matrices, you can also see that if we treat this as independent, because it has got 1 0 0, so you can control this element by of any vector by this column. Then with this second column you can adjust the second one to be whatever you want with some adjustment there, and with the third one you can do this. Another way to see it is to adjust the second element, you must the coefficient of this column becomes determinate. After that, to adjust this element, the coefficient of this one becomes determinate. After that, to adjust this element, the coefficient becomes determinate. If this discussion did not mean anything to you, don't worry about it. Look at the determinant, it is not 0, so the rank is 3. Let the initial state be 1 2 3. You can see arbitrary. Let the desired state be 2 2 2, another arbitrary state. Let capital T be 3. What input u of t will take the state vector from x0 to xd in t units of time? The answer is heavily non-unique. Okay, so for example, you can try u is a0 plus a1t plus a2t square, or you can try b0 plus b1 cos t plus b2t square, and you can see that this one and this one are different, and you can numerically find coefficients a0, a1, a2, b0, b1, b2 if you follow the third lecture that I have already put up. Let me emphasize that control is not done like this. If you are a control engineer controlling the system, you will not do this. I am showing you this calculation so that you can understand that in fact the state can be taken from some arbitrary initial state to some arbitrary final state within finite time, and I am showing you a way to calculate it. So do this for homework. Find a0, a1, a2 and b0, b1, b2. We may not be able to keep the state at xd, right? So here we may be able to take it from here, so that exactly 3 units of time, 3 seconds or 3 units of time later it is 2, 2, 2, but it won't stay there, right? So for the state to stay there, it has to be an equilibrium. X dot has to be 0. That means axd plus buc must be 0. Now remember, for arbitrary u, if a is invertible, then you can solve for xd, but we are not doing that. Here xd is specified, b has just one column, u has to be chosen. So in general axd will not be parallel to b, and there will be no such uc. Okay, to take a mechanical example, sorry for the small picture, but this same picture only with the angle the other way will appear 2 pages later. So you will see that over here I may be able to apply a force on this cart and pendulum system in such a way that at some time later, at some instant, this is stationary, and the angle is 4 degrees. But I won't be able to keep it at 4 degrees because there is no torque. You will see this example again and I will refer to it again. Okay. Now, same control inputs. You know, a0 plus a1t plus a2t square, but different coefficients. If our initial state is 1, 2, 3 and our desired state is 0, 0, 0 and capital T is 4, find it numerically. You can take it exactly to 0 state. Okay, so make sure you know how to do this. Okay, let matrices A and B be the same, and we want U is equal to minus kx. Now x is a column matrix, U is a scalar, that means k is a row matrix. Okay, our closed loop eigenvalues, that means eigenvalues of A minus bk, we want them to be 1, 2 and 3. Why 1, 2 and 3? They are in the right half plane. That is because I am demonstrating pole placement. To stabilize, we will place the poles in the left half plane. That is true, we will place these eigenvalues in the left half plane. This is just a demo. Calculate what the row matrix K has to be for the eigenvalues of A minus bk to be 1, 2 and 3. Do this, you will get K is this matrix. For such small systems, that means 3 by 3. Make sure you know how to do this by hand. Okay, I cannot be clearer than that. Now, usually K requires knowledge of the state X. Okay, what does that mean? Why? What I mean is, if I use U is equal to minus kx, just knowing K is not enough. You need to know X. But suppose x dot is equal to ax plus bu, y is equal to cx, and C is a row matrix. This is different from C bar, that controllability matrix. That means y is a scalar. We just have a scalar measurement. We don't know x. We don't know the whole state. So to use k in U equals minus kx given y over a period of time, we should be able to estimate x. Okay, so this is one of the problems we have to deal with.